Good evening and welcome to our YouTube channel, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Tonight we have episode 20 of Horror on the Orient Express, with yours truly as the GM. Jeff, if you'd be so kind as to give us a general recap of the game so far.
Sure. So this is like an overall recap of the game. Dr. Theodore Dawkins, Eldridge Volkov, and Frank Coates have been traveling across Europe in search of the pieces to a dangerous artifact known as the Sedefkar Simulacrum. Their intention is to destroy it, to keep it from the hands of some nameless cult. They are all part of the inner circle of an Arkham, Massachusetts-based group called the Arcane Society. They have traveled from England to France and then to Switzerland. Now they are headed to Italy on board the magnificent Orient Express. We have been to various strange locations, insane asylums, small chateaus, underground torture chambers, just to name a few. In addition, we have met and seen some strange things along the way. Wolfman-like creatures, skinned dead bodies, etc. We have managed to find one piece of the statue so far, the left arm, in Poissy, France. And we appear to have found the first of 5 scrolls, this one relating to the statue's head. All the while, we have met up with and been followed by some shady characters. We've met the Duke, also trying to obtain the scroll and who appears to have strange magical powers, as well as some strange people in red fezzes that seem to be following us. And it should be mentioned that we have somehow stumbled into some strange shared dreams while aboard the Orient Express. After having just read through Smythe's journal, that provided us some history from 1893 and learned of a strange cult called the Brotherhood of the Skin. We are now joining our investigators as they are headed towards Milan, due to arrive at 4 p.m. The night before last, we spent the evening on the train being entertained by an amazing and vibrant woman, Miss Caterina Cavallari, the lead soprano at the Milan Opera House. We became good friends and she booked rooms for us in advance. She gave us tickets for opening night this coming Wednesday, and we are excited to go. It should be a very posh affair. And that brings us up to date.
Cool. So, before we officially begin the story, I thought that you guys should know a little bit about the politics of Italy at the time, 1923. It would be something that you've read about in the newspapers on numerous occasions. So, I'll just read this really quick. After the Great War, many Italians felt that the gains they'd made during the war were thrown away over the treaty table. Benito Mussolini exploited this angry nationalism. In 1919, he gathered together groups of youths and veteran soldiers into units modeled upon military commandos. Their official name was Facci di Combattimenti, but they became known by their uniform, the Black Shirts. Black Shirts were initially used to break up strikes and to harass communists and socialists. This militancy would later turn against all non-Italians. Local police and officials often turned blind eyes to the fascist activities, either in sympathy or from fear. In 1921, Mussolini formed the Partito Nazionale Fascista, the National Fascist Party. Initially, they had relatively minor representation in the parliament, but were influential, so that no other party could form a government without PNF support. Finally, in October 1922, Mussolini was made prime minister by the King of Italy, Victor Emmanuel III. So that was just a few months ago. The date is now January 22nd, 1923. And you are on the train heading towards Milan when young, handsome Italian man leaves his room and heads towards the lounge where you guys have all been reading. For those who are watching, we have a new player, James Seals. James, why don't you tell us a little about your character before we begin?
All right, I am playing Ansel Vigo. He is Italian-born. He was raised by his mother in the city of in the township of Porta. He's accustomed to being on boats, to fishing, and around 8, his mother died under circumstances that he has kept quiet as an adult, but as a child, he said, the redcoats came together, and everyone thought he was mad. So he just learned to keep it quiet and keep it silent. He was sent off to Massachusetts, to Arkham, to live with his father, who was a member of the Arkham Society, and he's grown. He still has a very thick Italian accent. Not that I would be affecting an accent. And he can't quite understand euphemisms or colloquialisms in English. If he tries to use them, he more often than not gets them wrong, so he tends to stay away from the casual talk. He's handsome and more of a social-minded character, and he is now a photographer with I forget the newspaper, Tom?
Arkham Sentinel.
Well, okay, the Arkham Sentinel. And he's currently doing a photo shoot of Europe for the Arkham Sentinel's European Vacation Special. Sort of his big break.
Okay, cool. So anyways, Anselm is heading towards the lounge, and all of the characters actually know each other very well, but none of them expect to see Anselm in Europe. So, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go over to the lounge bar and see if they have a pack of Chesterfields. I am currently out.
Of course they do. It's one of the most popular cigarettes of the time.
Well, so we're all sitting back from after reading this journal, and I go to lean back and I guess the table that we're sitting at is pretty quiet as we're kind of reflecting what we've just read, and I'm packing my pipe, and I go to sit back, and I happen to glance over by the area, I guess the area where they're selling cigarettes and refreshments and stuff like that, and I happen to see Vigo over there. And I'm like, I'll turn to the rest of the guys and say, does that guy look familiar to you? I'll point him out to you guys.
And of course he does.
Yeah. I was trying to get their reaction, actually.
Is that Vigo?
I'm pretty sure it is.
What's he doing around here?
Well, let's call him over. Let's invite him over to our table.
Absolutely.
So what I'll do is I'll get up, because I'm not going to yell across the room. I'm not a filthy American.
Well, you're on a train, so across the room is about 5 feet.
Well, we're civilized too. So
yeah, of course.
I'll get up and I'll approach Vigo, and I'll walk up to him and say, "Excuse me," and wait for him to turn around to see if he actually recognizes me.
Vigo was in the process of exchanging with the cigarette girl his ring number, and turns around and is a little like he wasn't expecting to see you on this train, and the cigarette haze is pretty dense. Yes.
Are you Vigo? Mr. Vigo. Dr. Dawkins.
Oh, Dawkins! Oh,
yes.
Oh, what are you doing in my country?
Oh, we are. Well, me and my companions, actually, we are all part of the same society. I don't know if you guys, you've met these gentlemen, and I point over to the table.
Oh, yes, I have. That's
Would you care to join us?
Oh, of course, and I'll give the cigarette gal a little extra tip.
I look for a waiter and I ask if they can bring over some tea and some other refreshments.
Sure. In fact, it's just after lunch. Your train is actually due to get in, I believe, at 4:50 or so into Milan. So you've still got a couple of hours.
Okay.
We can actually skip some of this. We can say that you guys sit down, you enjoy your conversation, and you finally get into explaining to Vigo what's been going on.
Yeah. So basically, Vigo, well, we're gonna. I mean, we're not gonna go through all of this, but the sort of the rundown is that we were in London and we went to a seminar given by Smythe. And that evening, I believe it was, his residence was attacked, and he was badly burned. He's still alive, but he was badly injured, and he sent us on this. I guess we can call it a secret mission to recover some artifacts. And basically, I'll let the others sort of fill you in as well. I'm not going to just be the only one talking.
At this point, I'll look over my shoulder, make sure there's no red fez hat people standing nearby listening in.
You guys are pretty much by yourselves at this point. So you basically explain to Vigo about the events. Vigo, you know the professor. In fact, you visited him back in November. You're kind of shocked to realize that he was actually attacked.
How bad were his bones? I just met with him a few months ago.
Oh, have you? Well, I'm sorry to. We're sorry to bring this unfortunate news to you. However, our basic mission is pretty dire. So, I mean, perhaps we should talk about it, but maybe in a more private area.
No, of course. Yes.
But you were going to say something, Tom?
Well, I was just going to say, outside the game, that we can more or less give James the information, which he can look at separately. We can assume that for the next 2 or 3 hours, you guys just spend telling him everything.
Okay.
So, and if the viewers want to know all of that stuff, you can watch the last 20 episodes of the show. So anyways, I'd say it's probably about 15 or 20 minutes before you're going to arrive in Milan. And I want to explain what it's been like looking out the window. It's the middle of the day. You were up in the mountains in Switzerland, and of course it was very spectacular. Lots of white peaked mountains and crystal blue skies. And as you came out of the mountains and things started to level off, you saw farmland stretching out and vineyards and beautiful areas with very few houses. But as you've approached Milan, there have been more and more houses, and you've also noticed that the sky itself seems to change. It's not so blue anymore. It's more of a brownish gray. Off in the distance, you start to see more and more houses. You occasionally see smokestacks of industrial plants. And you realize you are coming into a major city. Shortly before you arrive in Milan, most of the plant life is gone. You see an occasional tree. You mostly see houses, concrete, buildings stacked up, laundry on lines. You're no longer in the country. And after a few more minutes go by, and your train pulls into Stazione Centrale, the train station. And looking out the windows, it looks like a freaking bomb has hit the buildings. there's piles of rubble up to the ceiling. There's places where walls have been knocked down, and there's a coating of dust on everything. There's very few people at the train station, oddly enough, this time of day. And everything is sort of bathed in a gray light since it's slightly overcast and dull. It doesn't seem like the bright, vibrant city that you kind of expected to see, at least not here in the train station. After a few minutes, the porters show up to take your luggage to your hotel, which has already been booked by Caterina Cavallaro, and you are free to leave the train and get to your business. You will be staying at a hotel in the Galleria. That sounds funny to say in English, but in Italy, well, we'll get to that in a minute. You're still at the train station if you want to do anything here.
I know that we made it a habit once we entered a particular city, we would send a telegram to Smythe, letting him know of our current situation.
No, actually not, because you don't know where Smythe is. You would see if he was sending you anything.
Okay, I thought. Well, I might have remembered that wrong, so apologies.
Yeah. He'll leave messages for you. What's it called? Telegraph restant. It's in your name with a code, so that you can, like Western Union, you go in there and you say, "Well, here's my code," and they.
Okay.
We would say download nowadays, but they have a way of getting the message so that only you get it.
Okay. Well, then I'll check at the station to see if we have any messages.
And actually, in this case, there is no message.
Okay. All right. Well, then.
Can I actually back up for 1 second?
Sure.
There was something that I wanted to talk about in regards to the journal that we just read.
Okay.
Having thought about it for a bit, there's two things that kind of popped into my mind as far as sticking out. The first was, according to the story, the pages, the dark sorcery, the Aklo, I think it was called, they were torn out. And
yes, Demir tore them out.
I'm curious, then, whatever happened to those pages?
There's nothing that says anything about it in the journal.
Right. Yeah, I'm basically discussing this amongst.
Okay. That's an interesting question.
So I'm just, we're on the search for the Sedefkar scrolls, and I don't know if there's a connection. I don't know if the scrolls are the actual torn out pages. But I just mentioned it because we should probably keep an ear open or an eye open for it.
Perhaps we can do some sort of research into what happened to these torn pages after they were torn out.
Because I'm trying to think, who tore them out? Was it?
It was Professor Demir in Constantinople.
Right. So
maybe he's still around, or maybe his family's still around.
Right, and Smythe and Demir knew each other well, so maybe even Smythe would know where the possible torn out pages are to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't get a message to Smythe.
Right.
But maybe we can get a message to Demir.
That's
an idea.
That's an idea.
And then my other thought was, remember in the story it was talking about the young boy.
Oh, yeah.
His name was... I can't find it. Menkath.
No.
No. Well, I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, the timing of this nowadays would put him around 32 years old, give or take. 30, between the 30s and 40s.
That's assuming he's still alive and still in Constantinople.
Correct. Or even maybe not in Constantinople. He could have moved to London or Paris.
Sure.
But I'm just curious because I guess what I'm saying is he could be alive and well, and he could be part of the leader of the current cult. Here it is, Mehmet Makriyad, the son of Salim.
Hmm.
Does that name ring a bell to any of you? Does that Mehmet?
Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
Well, let's.
Who knows Turkish?
Ansel does not.
Nope. Marcus knew Turkish.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking of your other characters.
So, Judge, just 2 points I wanted to bring to everybody's attention.
Okay. Well, let's make our way to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now,
before we leave the train station, Tom, I would like to go. Ansel would like to go and get a newspaper.
okay.
From a local stall or a local vendor, and just peruse the headlines.
Sure. All right. So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
You've grabbed it. Now, at this time, there's not really much transportation. I mean, there is, but where you're going is called. Let's see. Got the name here. The Centro di Milano. It's basically, if I was to try to describe it, you've got the big cathedral here called the Duomo, and there's a big square, and then there is the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele, which is like a mall, okay, but it's an older one, and then on the other side of that you have the opera house. So this is like one giant central location in the middle of Milan, and it's mostly foot traffic. Here, I'll give you a quick picture.
Okay.
So the cathedral is the Duomo, and it's spectacular. It's all made out of white and pink marble. You know from your guidebook that the Duomo it took about 500 years for them to build it, and they started building it in 1387. It's 240 feet high and 500 feet long, and it has 98 spires on it. So it's amazing. Now that archway over to the side, that leads into the Galleria, which looks like this. Okay. It's got a glass roof on it, all iron and glass, and it's got statues and paintings all over. It's got shops all around the bottom, and at the bottom of one of those corners is a cafe, very famous cafe called Beefy's. That's with an I, Biffi, Beefy, not beefy as in beef. Right above that is your hotel. It has balconies actually looking right out onto this. So it's one of the nicest hotels in the area. Go ahead and stop sharing that. Your hotel is called Hotel La Sinfonia Scuro. And basically, your luggage has been carried by porters all the way to the hotel and taken up to your rooms for you. And you just have casually walked across that beautiful plaza. Now, I want you to notice something. You've noticed as you've walked across the plaza that people just don't seem to be very excited about things. They're just walking around doing their jobs. they're all very well dressed. Milan is known as a fashion capital of the world, so everybody is just immaculately dressed, but nobody smiles, and people are having hushed conversations, and you don't actually want to go up to anybody and say anything because they're strangers and they're not really next to you. They're kind of over there, but you notice there's some people that are upset, people who are arguing. Just in general, it's not what you expect. You thought you wanted something more friendly, and they just don't seem to be that friendly right now. But when you arrive at your hotel, you're checked in, you're taken up to your rooms. The rooms are magnificent, very comfortable. There's plenty of room for Vigo to stay with you. You know, Caterina Cavallaro has rented you the best rooms in the place, and they're suites, so there's more rooms than you'd need. The rooms are very well furnished. There are bookshelves with things to read, and you've got, of course, you've got all the food that you could ever want, and jewelry and clothes and anything else you want to buy. And it's about, I'd say, it's a little past 5. It's about 5:20 or 5:30 or so when you're finally in your rooms. And is there anything newspaper. You peruse through the newspaper and you don't really see anything of that much interest. There are some articles talking about the opera, which is due to today is Monday, the 22nd. The opera's opening night is Wednesday night, and Ralph, I'm sorry, wrong story. Frank, you find sitting on the table in your rooms an envelope with tickets to the opera, and you can tell just by looking at the tickets that they're like maybe the second row, front and center. So they're really, really good spots.
Excellent.
What would you guys like to do while you're here?
Well, Ansel, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, Ansel, he is on assignment. He would like to put in a fresh set of clothes and go outside and start taking pictures and probably find out what's going on with the people, why they're all acting out of sorts.
Okay. So you're going to go downstairs and walk around, or?
Yeah, I'll go outside in the plaza and take some architectural shots. Try to get as many, focus. Like the buildings are impressive, yes, but people have those shots. But I'm trying to get like the everyday life living among these amazing vistas.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, going to cafes and like little outdoor areas. By capturing
and it seems like everybody is very, very concerned with the way they look here. So it's like picture perfect. All of these people walking around in beautiful clothing with beautiful shoes on. What do the rest of you want to do? Vigo's going to go downstairs and walk around for a while. And you guys are well rested.
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
I was going to basically ask what you guys wanted to do next. What is our next plan of action? I see by our maps that we have a library in the area.
Well, like I said, you have some books in the room too.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as researching our stuff.
Yeah, I say we immediately just jump right back in, because after reading the journal, my mind is focused on this. Anything to really get my mind off the fact that we were invited to the opera. And in fact, any mention of the opera, Eldridge kind of cringes, especially with the thought that they were set in the front row next to where all the action happens. He doesn't seem particularly pleased about this whole thing.
You're a bit paranoid.
I say, you know, I say I'm sitting in a chair as we're talking, and I kind of just look at the ground. Eldridge just nods. He nods quietly. He doesn't say anything.
I am too. So I share your concerns. However, I think that the best way for us to see what's actually happening here and see if there's anybody following us or is to actually go out in the public. I mean, we can stay here and we'll be sitting ducks as well. If we go out, we can at least get an eye on whoever might be watching us. And I mean,
I agree.
I mean, plus, you know, we have the advantage here. You know, we're not going into the opera, you know, without any sort of foreknowledge of, you know, what's happening here. We're going in with all of our senses on alert.
Perhaps someone should stay outside of the opera while it's being performed. Someone to stay in the house watching as the people enter during call. And you can see that he's rubbing his wedding ring, really just intense. Just the thought of the opera he's clearly shaken. But he then says, enough. What do you two think we should do in light of our new accommodations? Italy, Rome. We're in Rome, right?
Right. No, you're in Milan.
We're in Milan.
But Rome isn't so far.
Well, it's probably about 600 miles south of
you. But I mean, it's not as far as London is from Rome.
Well, no, you're a long way from London.
Right. Yeah. So now that we're here, maybe there's something else that can piece together. You know, the three adventurers who went to Constantinople before us, they took the Orient Express. Mm-hmm. Maybe they left clues, or maybe they left something behind that can help us with our quest with the scroll. Because they did mention a skin cult, and wasn't the Baron of that one place obsessed with skin?
Yeah, and that also ties back in with our first visit in London, where the skinless guy was left.
Oh, yeah.
And the message that was scrawled on his back. Does anybody recall that? Because that, I think, said something about the skinless one.
Something that the skinless one would rise or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
I can look it up.
It's only been a couple of days.
Which actually, I wanted to mention it. Does anybody recall, other than the opera, why are we here in Milan? Is there something specific we're supposed to be doing? I don't remember.
We're supposed to be finding more clues and evidence towards the artifact.
Do you have the various collateral pieces that you've gotten over the time? There was a list that Beddoes wrote out for you.
Let's see if I have it.
I did not receive that. Maybe someone else did.
It was the very beginning of the story. It's basically told you where pieces have been reported to be. And
yeah, I had it on my old computer. So
I'll start rifling through my satchel.
Let's see if I can find it. I can.
Maybe an idea roll help us.
Well, we'll assume it's there in your stuff. It's like it's. Yeah. You went to the Challenger lecture on the 3rd of January, and it's only the 22nd. So
yeah.
You guys have a portfolio with you, I'm sure. Let's see those. Oh, these are from another campaign. Let's see.
Okay, I think I found it. Sedovkar simulacrum is an occult artifact of evil power. It was taken apart, scattered across Europe at the end of the 18th century. Retrieve them to pieces and destroy it. The statue was dismembered in Paris just prior to the French Revolution. Part of it may still be in France. The owner was a noble Comte Fenelek. Napoleon's soldiers carried a piece to Venice when they invaded that city. Another fragment made its way to Trieste at the same time. Its fate is unknown. Look up Johann Winckelmann at the museum there. There may be a piece in the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Start at the National Museum of Belgrade. Dr. Milovan Todorovic is the curator. One part was lost near Sofia during the Bulgarian War in 1875. At that time, things of value were hidden from the invaders, so it may be buried somewhere. A piece was in circulation in Paris just after the Great War and sold to someone from Milan. The only sure way to destroy the statue is in its original home, a place in Constantinople known as the Shunned Mosque. A ritual to destroy it utterly is included in a set of documents known as the Sedefkar Scrolls. Cool. So it sounds like there's definitely a piece here in Milan.
Yeah. Now where to find it?
Right, and I don't remember any leads that we had specifically to Milan.
I guess at this point, I do need to know one thing: who has the arm?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay, you're in
I
possession
do.
of the arm. Okay,
I have the arm.
because Riley had it, and then Riley left the game. So.
Yeah. I remember that it was put into my trunk.
Okay.
I remember that.
All right. Does Vigo go looking around and leave you, or are any of you going to go around with him, or you guys want to do something else? I realize that's what you've been discussing, but if Vigo's going to go out while you guys are doing that, that's cool.
Yeah, Vigo feels a little overwhelmed. He's told stories of skinless men and people carrying arms and whatnot, and he doesn't. He's part of the society, he's part of the inner circle, but it's really been lip service to Mr. Vigo, and so he's a little unsettled by all of this, as anyone would be, and decides, he needs to get out. So if anyone wants to come with him, he's more than amiable to host you around Milan. He's been here several times. He has an aunt living in a little chateau outside.
He speaks Italian.
So he knows people. He'll show you around. But he's kind of anxious to stretch his leg.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't think it's a I don't think it's a smart idea to let him wander out by himself. If you guys are planning to do something else, then I can accompany him, and he and I can just walk around the city.
Now the light is going. It is 5:30, and it's the dead of winter. It's
cold.
Of course, it's brightly lit inside the Galleria.
Mm-hmm. Well, Frank, do you want to head with me to the library then? Perhaps we can find something there. Seems to be our go-to place. We're at the very first place we arrive in the city. We always go to a library, and that's never failed us.
Can we check the hours before leaving? Maybe it'll still be open.
I was thinking that we can hit up the library in the morning.
Yeah, because we might have a translation issue too.
Yeah, well, we have Vigo with us, so.
Yeah, but I meant like if Frank.
If it's written in like Arabic or.
I meant if Frank and I'm sorry, Thomas. If we went to the library by ourselves, we might have a language issue.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of the map, I don't see a standard library. I mean, I don't speak Italian or read Italian, so I wouldn't know. But there is the University of Milan, and I'm pretty sure they have a pretty big library.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I mean, I'm going to go out with Vigo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eldridge and Frank, what are you going to
do?
Eldridge, you're feeling kind of sore. You didn't You must have been leaning on something when you were reading from the journal in the train, but your left arm kind of is sore.
So I'm feeling tired. Like I don't really want to go out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look at Frank and I'll look at the other two because I'm assuming that he goes left. And I'll say I'm going to do my nightlies and have a little read and then maybe go to bed. I do have manuscripts that I do need to edit. I mean, we still need to do work. I still have to make money. So why don't you two head out? I'll edit a chapter and then I'll head to bed.
Can we bring you anything? Is there anything you want?
No, just you go head out. If you can actually bring me a bottle of milk when you arrive back for breakfast, that'd be nice.
Sure.
Okay. So the two of you walk outside and you step out into the grand dome area of the Galleria, and you look up and you see all these beautiful, the beautiful architecture and the paintings, and Vigo, you look up and at the crown of right underneath the dome, in the four corners, there are different paintings. They look like they're kind of in a sort of an old-fashioned style, and you're not sure you recognize the stories, but the one that when you're on the balcony looking outward and facing it, the one that's there looks like an Egyptian woman, and there is a man walking up towards her, and it's probably from some story, maybe from an opera. Mm-hmm. But you take pictures of that. You take pictures of the statuary, and you guys probably wander out towards the Duomo, and in the fading light as the sun is setting, of course, it hits that cathedral and just makes it look spectacular in the light. But as you're walking around, you're very excited about being in Milan, but you can hear bits and pieces of conversation. And one little bit that you sort of hear that sticks in your head is, well, I don't know, we have tickets and we're going to go no matter what. That's about it. Of course, it's in Italian.
Who's saying this?
Just somebody at a cafe as you're walking by, and you just they say it rather loudly. Some Italians talk rather loudly. Actually, they all talk rather loudly. And you're not really paying attention. It's not like you'd want to climb over the fence and ask them what they're talking about, but it's just you keep hearing little things like that there's some concern because of something that a lot of people are talking about. There's mention of somebody named Toscanini. That name coming up, and how upset he must be, and things like that. And the only reason that it sticks in your head is because you hear it from multiple locations as you're walking around. People are having conversations about something, perhaps in the newspaper, or perhaps that they heard word of mouth. But people don't seem to be very happy. You see people sitting in the cafes, drinking their but they're not even conversing with one another. And you notice a couple people off in the distance that look like they're crying. And it's just really weird. It's like no other place you've been, that people just seem to be so depressed.
Well, if it's possible, if there's enough sunlight, I would like to get a shot of the crying people in the background.
Okay.
Without drawing it, like
right.
Trying to I'm sure this is going to be a die roll. Without drawing attention to myself, but trying to capture the building behind them, but like putting them in the focus. Because like you said, it's unusual.
They don't seem to be paying any attention. They're They don't seem to be very shy about expressing their emotions, but it's just it all seems very odd to you. Frank, you're sitting in the. You said you were sitting in the cafe.
Mm-hmm. Beefies.
Yeah.
Beefies.
And you don't understand the language.
Right.
But you do hear the word Toscanini every once in a while, which it's a funny sounding word that comes up. And what is your do you have any like or dislike of classical music? I mean, your character.
Frank is not all that entirely. What's the word? I don't even know the word for it.
Not quite of a musical file.
Yeah.
Okay.
The social skills of the upper class are not his forte.
But go ahead and do a psychology roll.
Oh no, psychology. Yeah, 55. Yeah, passed 31.
Okay. Well, what you notice is you don't see much laughter or any laughter at all. You see people are somber. People who look like they should be lovers, a young man and a young woman sitting at a table, but she looks upset, and he looks like he'd like to comfort her, but he's kind of depressed himself, and just this general oddness to everything around you.
It's not an anger; it's more of a sorrow.
Right. It's just like a depression. Like everybody's got this depression that they're all dressed to the teeth. They're absolutely beautifully dressed, but they're all hollow inside.
So my gut instinct is that somebody important, whether it be a celebrity or a political leader, might have died recently. I'm just guessing.
Yes, it does seem kind of like that. But anyways, you guys spend a good chunk of the evening walking around. It eventually gets dark outside, but the Galleria is beautiful, and the square outside, everything is lit up. The church is lit up. It's spectacular. If you walk through the Galleria to the other side, which you probably do, you see La Scala, the opera house. Now, the La Scala, the opera house, on the outside, is kind of a drab building. And I'll show it to you later when I show you the inside, because I got it all on the same screen. But it's at the top of a bunch of stairs, and that's actually what La Scala means, the stairs. So, but then again, the opera house doesn't need to be pretty on the outside; it just needs to be pretty on the inside. But you wander around for a couple hours, and Vigo, you take some pictures, and nothing much other than this general sort of depression.
Are we going to meet back up with Frank in the cafe?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, I think I've got plenty of shots, at least for today. You know, I always like striking when the iron's hot.
I understand.
That's the right euphemism, right?
Yeah.
Couple? Oh, okay.
You've gotten that right.
Oh.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your assignment?
Oh, the Sentinel's doing a European vacation special edition package for the summer, and I'm trying to gather up some shots for that. I want to cast my homeland in the best light, but it seems so dreary, so drab. You'd think that they had all been privy to the goings-ons of you and your fellows.
Yeah, it would seem.
And Vigo, you were not too long ago in Germany, and you expected the Germans to be dry, and they actually seem quite lively compared to the people here.
Yeah, they knew how to drink.
Eldridge, You were. What are you doing? I mean, you mentioned what you're going to do. Do you do anything other than that?
No. You mentioned classical music. Are there people playing in the streets?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some street performers out there, but they don't seem to be attracting much, and their music just doesn't seem to be that. It seems kind of somber.
Is it loud enough to be heard within the room?
Yeah, if your window's open.
So yeah, slam windows shut, draw the curtains.
Okay.
Head to the bedroom, close the door, try and block out the sound, and just try to go to bed.
Okay.
Even though his mind persists of the opera, like he's thinking it, but he's dreading going. He wants to try and at least get some rest.
The room is very comfortable. The bed is very soft, and you drift off to sleep without any trouble at all.
Okay.
Probably rather easily. And I assume the other guys are coming back?
Yeah.
You've been out for a couple hours, and you all meet up back at the cafe. Actually, we'll see you meet back up at the cafe. Do you want to do anything before you go back upstairs? It's probably about, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
No.
I was going to say, if there's nothing else to do tonight, I would probably turn in as well, so we can get a fresh start in the morning.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to ask the barista in the cafe about this Tuscany fellow. I'll tell her that I'm a native of Porto, but I've been out of the country for several years, going on over a decade, and I just keep hearing this name over and over again. Who is this man?
Toscanini?
Yes, Toscanini. Thank you.
The barista, we'll just play that out. So I'm the barista. What can I do for you?
I didn't know that Mario was serving us.
No, Luigi, make him some coffee. Yeah.
Well, I've been wandering around Milan, taking in the sights, and it just strikes me as odd that everyone seems so upset, and I keep hearing this name over and over again. Toscanini.
Toscanini.
Yeah.
How can you not know Toscanini?
I've been away for a decade.
Yeah, he's the music director of the opera. He's world famous for his operas. He's a great director, an amazing director. He has an opening coming up in a couple of days at La Scala. They're going to do the Verdi opera Aida. He says, I can't believe you're here and you don't know this.
I'm something of a Luddite, an uneducated swine when it comes to opera. I never had an ear for it. My mother was of humble standing in Porto.
But you say you keep hearing people talk about it. They're probably talking that how upset he must be that the diva has not shown up yet for the opera.
Who's the diva?
Oh my God! Are you? I don't believe you're Italian. How can you not know the diva, Caterina Cavallaro?
Oh, I have friends who recently met her on the train.
And apparently you were asleep at the time and you didn't pay any attention.
There was a comely cigarette gal that I had been talking up for much of the evening.
Well.
Yeah.
Caterina Cavallaro. She supposedly arrived yesterday, but after she got off the train, she has disappeared. Nobody knows where she is. They expect that she's probably with a boyfriend or something and that she'll show up tomorrow. But she was supposed to show up for today. Everybody's talking about it.
Well, maybe
if
that's
she
why
doesn't show up. What we're going to do with the opera? Nobody wants to hear anybody else sing the Caterina Cavallaro.
Well, maybe that's why she's not. She hasn't shown up yet. She's drumming up expectations.
Oh, that is a good idea. Yes, make us all want to see the great diva.
Well, I'm sure she's in good spirits. I'm sure you are right that she is with the boy. She is, after all, Italian.
It is true.
Yeah. There are all plenty of us. And I thank you, and I will give her a tip, and go up to our room and let my fellows know if anyone's still awake by the time this exchange is done, or I'll let them know first thing in the morning.
Okay. Well, I imagine Frank and I gotta memorize your names all over again. Frank and Frank and Theo are still awake. Eldritch is gone.
Well, I'll let the good doctor and Frank know what I have just learned. Apparently, the whole the city is upset because the diva has not appeared. The young woman of your acquaintance from the train has gone missing.
I look at Frank with a worried expression on my face, especially after what we've been through.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if she's okay. I mean, she talked to everyone on the train, but she also talked to us and invited us.
Yeah, I hope we didn't put her in danger.
Yeah. I try to think back, and I mean, I'll see if you'll allow me to do this, like with an idea roll or something. But I try to think back at the point where we were talking to her, and
it was just day before yesterday. So
yeah, I know. After reading that journal, it felt like weeks.
Like 6 weeks.
Yeah, like we were transported to another time and place. But I try to think back to see if I would have noticed somebody like watching us or our exchange.
It didn't seem so. It seemed like at the time there was you guys, and there was and Caterina and her the guy who played the piano for her, and maybe a couple of other people in her entourage, people, assistants taking notes. Somebody took notes when, to make sure that you guys had tickets and that your rooms got booked. Other than that, there might have been an old couple over in the corner. Looked like they had been married for 50 years, and they enjoyed listening to the music, and they were nicely dressed. It was the Orient Express. But there weren't any shady characters or anybody strange. It actually seemed like quite a lively evening.
Okay.
That's kind of my memory of it too. It was a joyous thing. She was
happy and bubbly. You guys were dancing with her and laughing, and she was very sweet.
Was it? I think it was Eldridge too, who was the one that first kind of befriended her, wasn't it?
I can't remember. She kind of walked into the room and took over.
Yeah.
She's a diva.
Yeah. All eyes were focused on her.
Well,
I wonder if we could find out, did she actually get off the train at all?
She must have. I mean, what would be the reason for her not to?
Yeah.
Now this has me worried.
And you know that she didn't get off in Lausanne. She probably went straight from... She was on the train to Milan, so you guys got off, she didn't. It's about 24 hours later.
Would we know that? Would we know if she did actually get off the train in Milan? Or?
Well, you wouldn't know that, but that's where she was heading.
Okay.
Because she had an opening on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very excited about it.
I guess I meant as far as the story of her going missing, was there any details as to how, did she just not show up on the train? Or did she arrive to a bunch of fanfare and then just disappeared?
Who are you asking?
Yeah. I'm talking to the wind.
I'm the internet from the future.
I actually wonder that too, Frank. But something that we can't handle right now. So
yeah, it's getting late.
It is getting late. We're going to start up a bit early tomorrow. Head to the university, look through the library. But we'll keep our ears open. We have an interpreter now, and I point towards Vigo. So he can keep us up to date with some of the current happenings.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did anybody remember to get Eldridge his milk?
Oh no.
Milk?
I'll run down to the local farm market.
You're in the fanciest hotel in the city. You could probably just say, "Bring up some milk."
Okay.
Just bring it up.
Yeah.
All right. So you all go to bed, and nothing happens. You sleep rather soundly. The beds are very comfortable. Next morning comes, and you wake up, fairly early. What do you guys do?
After breakfast, and we'll fill in Eldritch of what happened, what we discovered last night, and we'll head to the library if everyone's okay with that.
Are you guys going to eat anything?
Yeah, we had breakfast.
Okay.
Cereal.
Do you up in your rooms, or do you go down to the cafe?
Cafe.
Well, cafe, yeah.
I go to the cafe.
All right. Now when you go down to the cafe, you hear a lot more people talking. The few there's not a lot of people in there, but the people that are in there, and now you're hearing the words Caterina Cavallaro, and you're hearing Aida and Toscanini, and you're picking out those words a lot.
It's strange that she disappeared. She was any room that she entered. She made sure that everyone knew who she was.
She's one of the most famous divas as far as Italy is concerned. So everybody does know who she is.
Yeah, how could a person like that go missing?
Perhaps, can't believe I'm going to suggest this. Perhaps we should split up. Some of us go look at the library and just exhaust that resource towards the scrolls and the other piece, while some of us go back to the train station just to make sure that she got off.
Okay.
We have to have this. I prefer going to the train station. I'm better with people. I say in the most monotone, somber tone ever.
Well, you should go along with. Well, this is going to be quite difficult because we're going to need an interpreter for the library.
Well, the library is certain to have librarians who speak English. It's not unheard of.
Okay.
I doubt the train station will have many people on hand who speak English. So if you would like me to follow up with you, Mr. Aldridge, to the train station, I would be happy to.
Vigo's a friendly man. I look at the other two. Perhaps you should come with me as well. Two people who are good with people are better than one. As I take a bite of my cereal.
Vigo, do a spot hidden.
Okay. Let's see. What is... okay.
You want to get the number or under.
All right. Yeah, 19.
Oh, that's really good.
My spot hidden is 45.
Okay. So you got actually better than half. You notice that at least 5 people around you who are talking about this have newspapers in their hands.
All right. Let's see if we can't. I see if there's like a abandoned newspaper on any of the tables.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, I quickly snatch one up and read through the headlines, see if anything catches my eye.
All right.
Specifically looking for the diva.
You can go ahead and read it.
And I will read it aloud.
Yeah.
To my
In English,
fellows.
please.
There's an item in the morning paper. Police have expressed fears that soprano may have been abducted from Milan, and I proceed to read the note that they can see.
Actually, I want you to read it out loud because people are watching.
Oh, I forgot. Upper single missing. Fear of abduction. Let's see. What do we have here? Police have expressed fears that soprano Caterina Cavallero may have been abducted from Milan's Tazzani Central. The singer has not been seen since she alighted from the train from Paris the day before yesterday at 5 p.m. Since then, she has not returned to her apartment or attended rehearsals at La Scala, where she is due to sing the part of Aida, which opens tomorrow night. Arturo Toscanini, music director of La Scala, has confirmed that he has had no contact from the singer since she departed Paris. Local police request that any members of the public contact them if they have any information on the location of Tazzani Calavarina. We heartily urge all Milanese to join the search for our most beloved star. And I apologize to any Italians watching. Deeply apologize. Game hat back up. Well, the word is out. We can also see if the police know anything. We can use that as an avenue if we don't find anything at the train station. I'm sure they would have already been there. But certainly worth a look-up from us.
Well, if nothing else, we can get her apartment number from the records at the train station. It will be difficult, but it's worth a shot. Drinks coffee.
I can see you're very good with people. You have confidence. It's good. It's very good.
All right. So what's our next step? What's our next move? You guys want to head to the police?
Well, I think we should go to the train station, as our original inclination was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can find out the room number.
I mean, that might be a bit suspicious, though. But I don't know. We're not necessarily officials of the police.
Well, Vigo flashes his award-winning smile. The police tend to talk to officials. I intend to talk to the people that tend to be overlooked.
I see.
The locals.
I wonder too. Would Vigo have any sort of press credentials?
Not for anything in Italy.
No.
I would. I may have some contacts. Maybe. I don't know. I have to look at my contact sheet.
I mean, I'm sure I have some papers from the Arkham Sentinel. I can use that if need be. And maybe that'll be enough to talk to the people I intend to talk to.
Okay.
I'm not going to the big higher-ups. I'm just going to the people who would like carry the baggage. For instance, the baggage was carried all the way from the train station to our apartments. Maybe I can talk to the bag boy, whom we all respected very much.
That's a smart idea. And besides, I look at the table. Perhaps going to the police in Italy's current condition is, and I look at the people around, because I have the feeling that the current political status is what's making everyone feel like this. There's been a lot of political unrest in Italy for like the past, Tom, 4 years?
Yeah. There's political unrest since World War One.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm talking mainly about like the fascists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So perhaps the police aren't the people we need to be going and talking with, especially foreigners. Even Vigo is technically a foreigner in their eyes. I mean, unless he has some citizenship credentials.
Oh, I'm still a citizen. I have not renounced my citizenship. As wonderful as your country is to host me, it is not home.
That's good. I mean, that gives us something. But once again, I don't think that the fascist government really wants to help foreigners.
Be careful of going around calling this government fascist while we're here.
No, they are fascist. They call themselves fascist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where the term came from.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it would be like an insult or
no.
Okay.
They are.
They're very proud of the fact that they're fascists.
What fascism really means in this case is they're extremely nationalistic.
I see.
They're
the
for the Italians.
Of communism.
Okay.
Right.
The far right as opposed to the far left.
What's the general attitude of the average Joe on the street? Are they for or against their current government?
Depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, I just meant like the average Joe.
Well, things that you let's put it this way: things that you've read, even in the United States, about the current state of affairs over here, is actually kind of positive. They're trying to get their country together. They're trying to come out of a state of very difficult poverty prior to World War I, and they're managing to do it. But then there's a lot of people who don't like the fact that Mussolini has risen to power, or the fact that he's using the black shirts, which are really kind of thugs.
They're like a secret police, essentially. They're like an army more than.
Well, they're not even secret. They're like right there, and they, in one step, they might help a little old lady across the street, and then beat the shit out of some homeless person because they make the country look bad. You know. Yeah. So they're pretty extreme.
Would we know that with this government, it's because it's a nationalist party, much like Germany in World War II. Would we know that if we were to point blank ask someone on the street, they would say, "Of course, Italy is the best. We love Mussolini. We love the Prime Minister. We love the King." Blah blah blah. Do we know that they kind of have to say that?
It's not quite that extreme yet.
Okay.
I
didn't know. I don't know.
Outside of the game, it does become that way after another 5 years or so. But at this point, we're kind of like Mussolini is building libraries, and he's building monuments, and he's fixing up Rome, and he's digging up ruins, and I mean all of that stuff that I saw in Rome was a lot of it was Mussolini having the money to have all those things dug up and put on display, Yeah. There's a lot of people that loved him.
Yeah, okay. So I just don't know how bad the nationalist state is right now. Right. Clearly it's not that bad, but we should still be careful. Because with an extremely nationalist state, foreigners come second.
Right.
Let's just say.
Right. You are correct. You don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
And so yes, Doctor and Frank, being suspicious is something that we don't want, especially here. Mm-hmm. But I also don't believe we should go asking the police.
Now, something that Vigo would know is in Italy, there's kind of like 3 levels of the police. There's now I can't remember all of their names. I can't remember any of their names, but there's like 3 levels. There's the local police, and they're not even armed. They're kind of like English bobbies. Mm-hmm. They might have a billy club, but they're just there to sort of keep the peace and make sure everything runs smoothly. Then you've got the gendarmes, who are national. They would be like the feds. And then you've got the black shirts, which are like the military sort of thing. So
like
the higher up you go, the more dangerous it becomes. But the local police are usually just, the guy that lives over there, and he's He's a policeman, and he makes sure that people aren't stealing purses or anything like that.
It's like the junto, right? What is it called? Yeah, it's a junto, right? I think that's what it's called. A political party that rises from military power. I think that's what it is. I don't remember. I think it's a junto. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, train station, apartment. If nothing else, Vigo here can flash his smile towards the police. After all, he is a citizen.
Okay. So, train station? Police station.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That didn't... You tell me where you're going to go.
Yeah, I'm heading off to the train station.
Okay. So you head over to the train station.
Good with people.
It's a short walk. It's not that long, maybe 10 minutes. And you arrive back, and you notice the same people working there. So, who do you want to talk to?
I want to talk to the person who carried all luggage to our road.
You notice the porter, and he's standing at a booth, and he's filling out some paperwork. And go ahead.
And I'll greet him. Good morning.
Oh, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Yeah. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine. You are the... I am also sorry for the Italian accent that I just keep slipping into. You're the fellow from yesterday.
I am. I wanted to, well, first thank you for carrying all that luggage. It was much appreciated.
Oh, it's no problem. My job. Did we lose anything? Is everything all right?
Oh no, everything's accounted for. Everything seems to be in its place. It was masterful work. I couldn't have done it better myself. Just one question: did you or any of your fellow portals happen to carry luggage to? I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Catalina's apartment last night.
The diva.
The diva.
You are like the seventh person who's asked me that. The police have been here. Various people have asked me. Yes, we didn't take it to her apartment. What we did is they had a number of cars. We had just about finished packing the car, and another car, a black car, an Alfa Romeo, pulled up, and the diva waved at who was in it, and she went over there, and after a few minutes she turned around and she waved at her manager and the people who were with the baggage, and she got in the car and drove away with whoever was in it. And I looked over at the manager, and he just sort of rolled his eyes up in his head. And then I assumed
the manager.
They took the baggage to. They took the baggages to wherever she was. Well, to her apartment.
Oh, forgive me. This here was my associate, Eldridge Volko, right?
Yes, I remember all of you.
Yeah, he's met the diva, and he spent an evening with her, and her disappearance has upset him greatly. As you can see, he's quite distraught. It's all he can do is hold it together.
Well, she obviously knew who she was talking to in the car. And my guess is it's probably an old boyfriend or something that she's shacked up with. But everybody is upset that she hasn't shown up. She has a townhouse on the Via San Carpoforo. The Via San Carpoforo. It's a hard one. And he says it's right over on those hills right up there. You can almost see it from here.
Indeed. Did you happen to catch a license plate?
Not that I can remember.
No.
But it was definitely a very nice Alfa Romeo, the new model this year.
Do you know the manager's name? Perhaps we can speak to him.
I have no idea. He'd be at La Scala.
Do you know which direction the car went?
There's like only one direction they can go at this point because it's all one way.
Okay.
I assume, of course, I just assumed that he probably took her up to her house. It was probably a patron or a fan or like I say, probably a boyfriend because she seemed like she knew him very well.
Did you happen to catch what the man looked like?
No, I couldn't see. The hood of the car was up.
I see.
Now, I can show you what an Alfa Romero looks like. Where is it? Here's an Alfa Romero.
Fancy.
Well, and unfortunately, you just glance around the area and you see 3 or 4 of them.
Because the Orient Express is rather fancy.
Well, he says, well, yes, but also because they're manufactured in Milan.
Yeah.
Oh.
There wouldn't be any way to... No. You don't keep track of license plates that come in or out.
No idea, no.
Well,
Wow.
Thank you, Portal. I will offer him a tip.
Thank you very much.
You in trouble with your manager? We're just very concerned fans and friends, and we thought we'd try to do anything to relieve this anxiety we've been feeling of late. So thank you. You've been very helpful. So.
Grazie. Okay, so you finished with him.
Yeah. Can I do another spot hidden to see if those where the call picked up to see if there's anything thereabouts?
Sure.
Oh, nope, that's a fail.
Nope, you don't see anything.
They do a thorough job, those portals, cleaning up the place. it's quite a relief from some of the stations that populate America.
Perhaps we should head to the Opera House then. This manager, he says, would probably be there.
I was thinking of maybe taking a look at the townhouse.
That's not a bad idea. Well, do we know where it's at, and would it be on the way towards the Opera House?
He did point that they were at the hills. I'm sure there will be some sort of presence there.
Well, he gave you a name, the Via San Carpoforo, and you do see that there's a couple of houses up on that hill and a road sort of going around it. The Opera House is on the other side of where you're staying.
Okay.
That's walking distance.
Okay. Well, let's head for the house first, and then we'll go to the Opera House afterwards.
Okay.
There are cabs.
I will hail a cab.
Okay. And one pulls over as soon as you hold the train. They're all waiting in line because it's the train station.
Yeah, and I will direct him. Do I happen to know the names of the other houses beside it? Would that be something that I may have picked up?
You have no idea.
No idea. Okay, then I will tell them that I am looking, and I'll give them the name of the house. We're good friends of the diva, and she's invited us to her apartments after all train expedition.
You want to go to Caterina Cavallero's house on Via San Carpoforo?
Of course, you know the place.
Of course, I know every place.
Excellent.
So, you all pile in to his Alfa Romero. No, it's not an Alfa Romero. Or maybe it's a really old model.
Beta Romero.
But anyways, you head up the hill, and it takes maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you pull in front of a very nice little townhouse. It's 2 stories high. It's not big, but it's got nice gardens around it, and it's well kept, and it's quite lovely. What would you like to do? You're outside.
Do we notice like a police presence here?
No.
Are there any vehicles or cars or any
There's
sort
a couple of
sign?
cars. There's a couple of cars in the street, but at the road really, but they just look like they're people's car.
Is there a service walkway to the back, like something the milkman may have used to drop off goods? Or
Yes, there actually is. Mm-hmm.
I would actually like to inspect that area and actually take that down. To not knock on the front door, but knock on the side door.
Okay. You guys can go with him?
Yeah, we'll follow.
Okay.
Sure. I'll be nervously watching to see if there's anyone taking a look-see look.
All right, you go to the service entrance and you knock on the door, and after a couple of seconds, you hear it sounds like click, 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 like footprints appear coming on a tile floor, and the door opens, and there's a young woman. She's dressed like a maid, and she's like, "Si."
Hello, buongiorno, buongiorno, miss.
Buongiorno.
We have we're good friends of the diva, and we were wondering if she was hereabouts.
And she's like, "Oh no! Don't you know that she's missing?"
She's missing, and I use this as sort of an opportunity to take a step in. What do you mean she's missing?
She hasn't come from the train. We don't know what happened.
We were just on the train with her.
You were just on the train with her?
Well, yesterday she invited us here, and it seemed the main entrance seemed a little abandoned. So we figured we'd try to come over here and see what was going on.
Oh dear! Did you see where she goes? Do you know where she is?
I don't. That's why we came here. We thought she'd entertain us.
Oh well, what we've heard is that she got into a car, and we don't know what happened after that.
Oh.
Romero.
And her opera is coming. It's not like her to do things like that.
We have tickets and everything. She gave us complimentary tickets.
She was very, very excited about singing this part.
Oh, who? I mean, it is. What was it called? Ada? It is Ada.
Aida.
Aida, sorry. It is Aida.
And she's like, yes, we're all very upset. We don't know why she isn't here. It's just not like her to do this.
Hey, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take this opportunity as they're talking to kind of walk into the kitchen?
Yeah, you've all kind of come into the kitchen.
Well, and walk through the kitchen and kind of deeper into the house.
Okay.
Okay. So she doesn't care.
Yeah, she's just the maid, so
she's occupied talking to handsome Vigo.
The house is very Italian. Tile floors, lots of marble, lots of gold, lots of bouquets of flowers, but it's very clean, and there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary, except that there's nobody there except the maid.
Can I do a spot hidden to perhaps see, like, a study, an office, maybe her living room has mail, some place where she can receive telegraphs or letters, phone calls, she's written something down, anything that really give me information on her day-to-day life.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, dice, don't fail me now. Okay, 50 out of 60, 65. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, there's actually just inside the door, there's like a side table with a big flat sort of plate on it. It's made out of some sort of colored glass, and there's a pile of mail there, like 7 or 8 pieces of mail.
Okay. All of them opened, unopened?
Unopened.
Okay. So I go ahead and I pick up the stack. Is anyone with me? I ask.
Hold on just 1 second.
Is there any?
I'm handling the maid, and I'm like almost dancing with her, like not dancing, but like whenever she seems to notice that I'm straying about, I'll try to move my hand and give her the winning smile.
She's pretty attentive, even though she's upset and she's looking at you, and she does notice Eldridge go over to the mail. And as you pick it up, she just says to you, she says, "Oh, that's the Diva's mail. We don't open that until she gets home."
Okay. So, very quickly in Russian,
Okay.
I look at Vigo, and I don't know if Vigo understands Russian. Even if he doesn't, that's fine. He'll understand what I'm trying to do. Very quickly in Russian, I say, "The Diva's mail is a Diva's mail. I'm going to open the Diva's mail. I mean, I don't really care." And I just say that very quickly in Russian, and I make a bunch of hand gestures pointing at the mail, and I look at Vigo.
Could anything in these letters, maybe whoever picked her up, maybe they wrote to her in advance.
Do a persuade roll.
Okay, what is my persuade? Ooh, that's not good. I should have beat that up. I have.
Oh my God!
That's the wrong time.
Yeah.
All right.
It's 6. And
Oh my God!
Yeah.
She loves you.
She goes. "Oh, you think so?"
It's possible, right? We can't leave any. What is it they say in America? Pebble turned over.
I don't know what they say in America.
Right, pebble turned over.
Anyways, she comes over to where you are holding the mail, and there's one letter on the top, and she's like, "Oh, that's a bill from the gas company." Gas company? Yeah. They got acetylene gas. That's a bill from the gas company, and that's a bill from blah blah blah, and that's a bill from this. And she says, "I don't know what that is."
Can I take a look? Handwritten.
Oh, it looks like it.
Okay. I then say in plain English. The Russian did its job.
She doesn't seem to speak English, by the way.
Oh. So I look at Vigo and then I say in English, so that way Vigo can understand me now. I'm going to open this. Does she mind?
Go ahead.
She's like, "If you think it will help."
All right, and I just.
I do. We do. Go ahead.
I go ahead and open it, and I pull it out. Handwritten letter, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. In Italian, English, German.
It's in Italian.
I sigh, and I hand it to Vigo.
Okay.
Oh, I take a look at it.
And when you sort of hold it out, and I mean, she can see it while you're seeing it, she goes, "Oh, that's from Mastriani.
Who's that?"
He's another director. He wants her to come and sing next year at the opera in at Rome." That sounds good. She wasn't hesitating. I was hesitating because.
That sounds real.
And the letter seems to confirm that. He's begging her, "Please, please, come."
Let me ask you this, Madame.
Her name is Isabel. My name is Isabel. Please call me Isabel.
Oh, such a beautiful name. And of course, I give her a short bow and kiss her hand like she's royalty, actually.
Tastes like bleach.
They did have bleach back then. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I don't like French kiss her hand. Jeez. But so I
Yeah. Okay.
but I asked her, you know, if she had any sort of quarrel with this individual? Did she constantly turn him down?
Oh, no. She gets these all the time.
Okay.
She also gets fan mail, but the fan mail is all handled by her manager because she gets hundreds and hundreds of fan mails.
Has she gotten?
She have a stalker.
Yes. And I try to translate. Does she have a particularly infatuated fan?
Oh, not really. I mean, everybody's infatuated with her.
She is a diva.
But are you asking, has anybody hung around the house outside? So
yes.
Only you.
Oh, you cut me to the quick, Isabella.
She's like, no. She's like, she's very well respected.
Okay.
Tom, what I have known... Sorry, what I have known, or maybe you even mentioned it before, the operas are usually a story, right?
Yeah.
Do we know what the story is behind Aida in a nutshell?
You could give me, let's say, a knowledge. Well, see, you guys said you didn't really know your classical music.
Well, I would.
So,
but
I unfortunately know my classical music.
I'm English.
Okay, Wayne. Dr. Theo. Go ahead. You're also a doctor, so you probably listen to music while you're making your artificial life forms in your biochemistry lab.
I'm very proud.
Go ahead and do a knowledge roll or no roll.
Or an idea.
Idea, that works.
29 out of 80. So that's.
You've never actually seen Aida, but what you know of the story is it's basically this. The story is set in ancient Egypt. The main character, Aida, is in the beginning, we think that she's a slave girl, Ethiopian, and she has fallen in love with, and he's fallen in love with her, Radames, the general. Now, what nobody knows at that point is that Aida is also the daughter of the king of Ethiopia. She's a princess.
Okay.
And the song that Caterina sang for you, Ritorna Vincitore, is the point in the opera where Aida is saying, okay, Radames is now leading the army against my father, and I love them both. So who do I root for? And, she's torn with conflict, and eventually everything sort of works out. Actually, I don't think it does. I think it's actually tragic end. I don't know the opera that well either, but it's basically that. It's all set in ancient Egypt, and it's all very, they all go way out on the stagecraft, and
okay.
So it's spectacular. And Giuseppe Verdi is a masterful opera composer.
Is there any sort of sorcery or anything like that within the
no, not really. Yeah. But there's, the worship of the ancient Egyptian gods, and it's mostly military stuff. It's the two armies fighting each other and her being torn between the two people she loves. And of course, I think there's something about Radames becoming the leader of all the armies, and therefore he's too upper class to be able to marry somebody as lowly as a slave girl, and that might be how it ends, because they find out she's actually a princess, in which case, okay, no, that's okay. But I'm sure everybody dies at the end, because that's opera.
Yeah, Shakespeare has nothing.
Feel free to look it up when we're not playing the story.
There's nothing
say that he tells you about it.
There's nothing in that really that would make it like against the current political power.
No.
Okay.
And currently, the king is still in power. Mussolini is just the prime minister.
For the time being.
Right. So going through the mail, you don't find anything of any consequence, actually.
Well, I will ask Isabella, where is Home Manager? I would think he would be here.
Well, he's probably at La Scala. The opera starts tomorrow. He's probably he's got a ton of stuff to manage, and he's probably hoping that she shows up. The police have become involved.
Oh, of course.
Of course, I think at this point everybody in Milan has become involved.
Yes, well, if she happens to show, let her know that her friends were here and that we are quite concerned.
Okay.
And, we hope that she comes home.
And she begs you, please find her. Please send her home.
We will continue looking, and I will take her hands and give them a squeeze.
Okay.
We will continue looking, and we hope for the best.
Okay. All right, so you're going to leave there. What would you like to do next?
Gentlemen?
Opera House?
I believe the Opera House will be our best option. At least we can speak with the manager and maybe find out where she's well, at least who is likely to have been in the car to pick her up.
Yeah.
The good news is that we're eliminating suspects, not a stalker, and it's clearly someone that she knows extremely well.
Right.
She wouldn't just get into the car of a stranger.
I think Frank's starting to get a little like, this is not unusual, I don't think, for big celebrities to just, wait till the last minute to show up for their performance. And
Forgot to mention this. Let's say that Isabella tells you this.
All right.
I don't know if it adds anything to it or not, but the subject of the car picking her up. She says that sometimes, of course, she's a famous diva, that the opera themselves will send a car to pick up the diva from the train station.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unusual at all. But if that were the case, then they would know about it at the opera.
Yeah. So as we're leaving, I kind of say in passing to the group as we walk back to the street, maybe this is all just a political stunt, or not a political stunt, a publicity stunt. That they say that she's not here, and then she magically appears on the day the opera opens, and everyone wants to come see it. I kind of voice my trepidation to go look at the opera. I don't think that this is really... Eldridge doesn't think this is a really big deal. He's willing to go, but if only to just say that, maybe this isn't as big a deal as we're making it. The big deal is the world ending.
Actually, I'm of like mind, but I wanted to get all the distractions out of the way. Seems like you guys wanted to do this morning. I'm for continuing on our own personal mission, but it's up to you, gentlemen. If you really feel the need to continue on investigating, we could at least go to the opera house and figure out what's going on there. If nothing shows up, then we can continue on what we're supposed to be doing.
Tom, when is the opera?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Dreading it. All right. I say the opera house is on the way, so maybe we should stop there while no one else is there, and if nothing else, we get to just see the opera house.
Right.
We are in Milan after all. We may as well take in some of the sights. And again, he completely monotone. No real emotion is coming through.
Okay.
So I'm good with going to the opera house just to say, hey, is she here?
Okay.
Uh-oh. I think he's stuck in limbo.
What was that?
I think poor Tom is stuck in limbo because he looks like the Exorcist right now.
It's not very flattering. Snap out of it. Snap out of it, Eldridge.
Let's see if I can pull that up on the screen. Sorry.
Old ones.
Take the fez off your head.
Yeah, it's not going to come up on the screen. It's too bad. All right, so you're going to head for La Scala. I'm sorry, yes, La Scala.
Yes.
That's basically right back down by the Galleria. It's just on the other side from the Duomo, from the cathedral. So once you're back down the hill, you can just walk there. La Scala is, as I say, kind of a plain building on the outside. Maybe I'll wait for just a second for Tom to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says, hold on just for a second. Do you want to discuss anything else?
Yeah, I thought the Shoggoths got him.
You start to notice something, though, now, too, when you're walking around in the shop or through the Galleria towards La Scala. And that's that a lot of the shops have pictures of Caterina Cavallaro in the window with little candles burning in front of it.
Come on. She's only been gone for a day.
Hey. It's, we've seen, this is outside of character. We've seen similar things happen with celebrities of our time, so.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of celebrities are more loved than family members at times.
Mm.
Well, let's go ahead and continue.
Okay.
Hopefully Tom will be able to pop right back in. So you're heading towards La Scala. And the front end of it, there's some decorations. There are some banners hung up with Aida on it and opening night and the date and everything. But the doors are locked shut. You do, however, well, go ahead and do it. You can all do sort of a spot hidden.
Nope, 76.
23 out of 45.
Oh, that's good. Jeff?
82.
Okay. Well, Vigo, you notice there's actually a lot of activity towards the back of the building.
All right, let's see what what's happening over there. I'll direct.
All right.
Okay.
We're following you.
All right.
We're the tourists here.
Well, as you walk around towards the back of the building, what you notice is that there's a fairly large double door, maybe about 10 feet high and about I'd say at least 10 feet wide, that is open, and there are lots of people going in and out of it. They're carrying things. There's people coming out and taking smoke breaks. They're dressed like workers, and men and women. You also notice that there's a man, rather muscular, burly sort of fellow, sitting at a desk. Here he comes. He's sitting at a desk just outside the door, and he's just making sure who's going in and who's going out. Tom, they've just arrived at La Scala, and the whole front of it is closed. There are banners, but they notice there's activity in the back, and back there's a door open, and there's people coming in and out and smoking, and workers.
Oh, they're just setting up the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Coolio.
And there's like a door guard or a door guy sitting there at a desk, big burly guy.
Well, I'm going to
approach.
Oh, you're going to approach the big bowling bag?
No, I'm saying, has anyone approached? I'm guessing you're about to.
No, I was going to approach the locals and see if anyone wanted a cigarette.
Oh, sure. Sure,
So
thank you.
Awful. I want to say, so you're still packing up you're still setting up for the show.
Oh my God, we're like going crazy. He's like, it's always like this. Always like this.
Always like this.
Pieces of set getting finished. I'm sure that we'll have pieces of set that are just being finished 20 minutes before the show starts.
And you're not worried about the missing diva?
Of course, remember. Oh my God! Of course, we're worried about the missing diva. That's all anybody's ever talking about.
See, it's the story's captured the whole city.
She's one of our most beloved treasures.
I have unfortunately not had the pleasure of hearing her sing.
Oh my God! Well, you can get records of her singing.
Yeah, I see a lot of the shops in town have little shrines set up with some of the records playing.
Yeah.
So, but I meant in those records and in those being wholesome.
Well, of course. There's nothing like hearing her voice.
Yeah. Did any of you folk, and I'll sort of address, did any of you happen to pick her up from the train station?
No.
Was it call sent?
No.
No?
We heard it was an Alfa Romero. None of us could afford an Alfa Romero.
Oh, I figured maybe the opera owned an Alfa Romero that they used to just pick up their most valued treasures.
I don't know. They probably know inside.
No.
I'm nobody. I'm just a worker, but...
You're not just a worker, my friend.
Hey, Marco, he says. He yells over at the big guy. And he says, do you know if they sent a car to pick up the diva? And he gets up from his desk and he comes over and bums a cigarette. And he's like, no. It's like, not that I know of, but they don't always tell me this stuff. I just watched the door. And he says, where are you guys from?
Well, I am from Porto, originally.
Really? And you admit that?
Well,
I'm just playing with you.
I mean, there's no Milan, but the fish is excellent.
And he looks over at Eldridge and he says, now, you look German. Are you German?
I look at him, and I say, yeah. And I say Russia.
Ah, Russian. Vodka. We like the vodka.
And I just kind of just simply stare. No real response.
I always said that if you're going to go out drinking with somebody, you go out drinking with a Russian.
Well, and I just say nothing. He's visibly awkward.
So, why are you here? Who are you people?
Well, we were on the train with her, and she invited us to the show. She actually is the one who booked our rooms.
Really?
Yes, and
you don't know what happened to her, huh?
No, we were terribly upset. I mean, you can see my friend here, the Russians, just so awkward.
Oh well, I can't tell you anything, but you can talk to some of the. You can talk to the stage manager. You can talk to the director.
Would you mind introducing us?
Well, no, I can't leave my post, but you'll find them. It's a theater. He says, but mind you don't get lost. It's a big building.
Okay.
Come on.
Sure. Great.
And as he takes you over to the big doors, and there's some little scrawny-looking guy carrying a piece of. It looks like a big fake. It looks like a big spear, but it's obviously prop. And he just sort of reaches out with his big, giant, burly hand and grabs the guy by the scruff of the neck, and pulls him over, and he says, "I want you to take these guys to the stage manager." And he's like, "Okay." And he sort of hands him the spear, and He sort of motions for you to follow him.
We follow.
Okay. Now, when you go inside, you're stepping into a different world. You are backstage in an opera house in a huge theater. Very quickly, you lose sight of the door. There are walkways and pathways, and there are stairs going up and stairs going down, and there are props everywhere. You turn a corner, and there's half a gigantic face leaning up against the wall, and there are chariot wheels with big plastic, or not plastic, but paste jewels in them. And there are people in costumes. There are a couple of soldiers who walk by with big battle scars on their faces, and they're smoking cigarettes, and they're just chatting with each other. Mm-hmm. And you notice over on the wall there's a big picture of Caterina Cavallaro with garlands of flowers around it, little candles burning in front of it, and there are old ladies carrying stuff around, and you end up going upstairs and downstairs and around stairs and behind things, and after a few minutes you think that, oh my God, you could be hopelessly lost, but eventually you step out from the wings onto the main stage, and there's a man. He looks like he's maybe in his 40s, kind of ruddy complexion, and he is obviously in charge of 1,000 different things because people keep coming up to him, and he's directing them. That goes there, take that to the east end, put that over there, do this, and he's got a clipboard in his hand, and he's making notes, and he's writing, and the guy leads you right up to him, and he says, "This is the stage manager." Now, the stage manager's not even paying attention to you as he's sitting there doing stuff, and people keep coming up, and Giacomo, no, don't put that there. Put that over there. He goes back and he's doing other stuff. So what do you guys do?
Well, I will approach, and Isabella said you'd be here.
And he's like, who the hell are you?
Oh, I am Vigo. I am good friends with the diva, me and my associates. Isabella sent us.
Tell her to get her ass here. We've been looking for her everywhere.
Well, I understand that. I was just curious, did you happen to send a call to pick her up from the train station yesterday?
No, like I told the police, nobody sent any car.
That seems a little unusual, right?
Not really. She lives up the hill. She just would have gone right up the hill. She'd take a cab. Her friends were there to pick her up.
Friends?
Well, yeah, her friends that are always there to pick her up with her manager and everybody.
Who might those people be?
She's got 100 friends, but they're mostly her family and people like that would take her up there. But that's not what happened. She got into an Alfa Romero.
You say that with such disgust.
Well, I say it because nobody can afford one of those except the wealthy, and not all of us are wealthy, Oh
no, boy, do I know it! I pull out my pockets.
He's like, my job. I sometimes wonder why I even have this job. He says it's the curse.
Curse.
Oh yeah. And he goes back to doing his thing, and he's like, "No, Sala, no, put it out of there. What the hell are you doing? I told you to put that backstage."
What course would that be?
He says, "Well, like I said to the newspaper guy," he says, "we've had a run of bad luck for a long time now." He says, mostly upstairs in the costumery where the ladies work, but we thought we'd gotten over that, and now it seems like it's come right here on stage. People are tripping, people are falling. I had one worker injured; he's in the hospital. I had a whole set over here break loose and get destroyed. And he says, and now the diva's missing.
You think it's part of this course?
Yeah, it sure seems that way.
Sounds more like sabotage.
What curse might this be?
And he's like, look, gentlemen, I don't really have time for this right now. I'm very busy.
I understand, but we're trying to
go buy a ticket to the opera. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
We already have tickets. We're just here to try to find the diva.
I told all of this to the police, and I told it to the reporter. You read the newspaper.
All right. What I'm going to do is he keeps shouting at Sergio to move cops.
He's shouted at 20 or 30 different people.
Okay, I'm going to grab one of the people that he just shouted to that has just moved, that finished his job, and just say, out of earshot of him, he's told us to go to the the costumary. We're wanted in the costumary. We don't know our way around the land. Would you show us?
Sure. The guy says, yeah, it's easy to find. It's easy to find.
Great.
It's like, and he's busy, so he sort of walks you over, and he says, you see that staircase right there?
Uh-huh.
And he says, you take that staircase, and you walk all the way to the end. There'll be another staircase. You're going to go all the way up to the top floor, the third floor. He says, when you get there, you make a right, a left, and a right, and you'll find the customary.
Right.
So right, a left, and a right. Got it.
Excellent. 2 staircases and that. Thank you, good soul. You've been a great help.
Okay. So, you notice at least this. You notice that. Did I give you the stage manager's name? I didn't.
No, I don't think he had time.
He did give you his name. It's Paolo Riscianti. Okay. You notice as you're leaving that he's looking at you. Now, he's not looking at you in a freaky or suspicious way. He's looking at you like, if you bother any more of my workers, I am going to have you thrown out of the building. Because he is very busy. And he's in charge of all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He doesn't look sinister or anything like that.
He looks frustrated.
He looks frustrated. All right. So, are you heading towards the costumery?
Yes, I would a wardrobe.
It was a course. I mean, that sounds like something that some arcane investigator should look at. The game's afoot, Watson.
Well, that's where we'll leave it until next week.
Oh, it started 10?
That
Oh.
was such a great game.
Thank you so much for playing. Thanks, James, for joining us. We're going to have a lot of fun from here on out. Thanks to all of our viewers for watching. We hope you enjoyed our game session. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you liked our show, please give us a thumbs up. Tune in next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next episode of Horror on the Orient Express. Until next time, always remember, if there's no light left to guide your path, your only choice is to venture into the darkness. Good night, and good gaming.